Atlanta Falcons. The game landed 1 yesterday, so I thought that was funny as well. I was on the Falcons with you. We'll take that cover. Speaking of not covering and not winning, the Indianapolis Colts, they were a buy-on team there for a while. They ended up faltering yesterday at the Steelers.
Yeah, let's emergency betting this one. That's emergency betting this one right away. The money come one way, and now we're seeing it come back the other way. So you have an opportunity, I think, right now to take advantage of a number that's not going to be there in an hour or two. Look at line here was Colts -7, total of 48. My powering number, Colts -5. The markets opened 6.5 last night, and it got bet down. There were 5s and 5.5s out there this morning. Now I'm seeing the 6s. The 5s just got taken out. The 5.5s are getting taken out. I'm seeing the 6s popping up right now. So if you like Indy, 5.5 will likely to be the best of the number you're going to see. You can still get that. That's widely available as we speak. So in Berlin, which is a long, Berlin's a long way from London, man. That's an extra 2 or 3 hours on your flight across the pond. That being said, we're seeing Falcons money. We saw the Falcons money. Now we're seeing Colts money in the bounce back spot. And I mean, Atlanta got the cover for me yesterday. Basically, Drake London got it single-handedly. Drake London was unreal. And the final touch on the Falcons' last touchdown drive, he had 3 or 4 I think 3 catches with one hand, including the touchdown catch, which was as unbelievable as it gets. And he had 3 TD catches on the day. That was essentially all Atlanta did offensively. I can't understand the Falcons' game plan right now offensively. It's incomprehensible to me. When you have Bijan Robinson and you're feeding him 12 times in a game with your young QB coming off injury on the road, 12 for 46 to me is inexplicable for Bijan Robinson. And in theory, and he's a team you're supposed to be able to run against. We'll see if that plays out. And of course, after the game, the coaching staff was talking about how New England cheated. They called out our signal. And of course, in the last drive, with clock mismanagement from Raheem Morris and company, with the decision to punt the ball away at the 2-minute warning, so you get the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. I'm not looking at Atlanta and thinking that's a well-coached team right now. As for Indy, they turned the ball over yesterday. Quentin Nelson, quote, "Losing makes you better in the long run as long as you effing learn from it." And that's what we're going to do. We come to work for each other and grind for each other. Love the guys in this team. Love our coaches. We'll be back next week. Danny Dimes, turn it over as many times as we did. 6. We're going to have a tough time winning. And of course, the offensive line had the worst game they've had all season. The defensive line didn't play well. DeForest Buckner, we're not all going to have a perfect game. I don't have a perfect game all the time. It's the NFL. This game doesn't define him as a quarterback. Jonathan Taylor, his worst game of the season, 14 carries on 45 yards. Quote, "We got to give Jones time." The offensive line, running backs, we got to be in the right spots as far as routes being on our areas. It's the entire offense, the cumulative thing. We have to be better with the football. And the Colts won the box score, 368 yards to 225. But when you turn the ball over 6 times, it doesn't matter. I think, like I said, we saw the first money come for Atlanta. I think that was a head fake. The real money is coming for Indy now. If you like the Colts, bet them sooner rather than later. I'm going to put it more on the Packers bad than Panthers good. That being said, the Panthers have a winning record right now, in November, which is something we haven't been able to say in a couple of years. Look at line here. Carolina 3.5. Total was in the 40. I can't read my writing. 42. I got a 42/40. So there was a wide variance in the total for the look ahead here for New Orleans and Carolina. Powering number for me had the Panthers 5.5. Last night, the markets, there were 4.5. There were 5s. There were 5.5s out there and 40.5s out there. And there are still a couple of 4.5s and 5s out there. Enough 4.5s and 5s to say emergency betting alert time. If you like the Panthers, I would do it sooner rather than later. There's not going to be market support right now for the New Orleans Saints. And Carolina is above 500, a playoff contender in November. They're healthy at the QB position, and I expect this line, again, at 5. The 4.5s and 5s aren't going to be there. It'll be 5.5 or higher, at least in this bettor's opinion. And we talk about incomprehensible game plans. The Saints have a rookie quarterback in Tyler Shuck making his first career road start. And what do? 13 rushes to the running backs. That's it. 13 handoffs. It doesn't make sense. They got out first down 30-10. They had almost only 16 and change in time of possession. Second 4-game losing streak of the season for the Saints. This team's as bad as any in the NFL. Kellen Moore, embattled first-year head coach, quote, "We didn't give ourselves a chance in this one. They really controlled the game in so many ways. We didn't get enough shots at it." So here they have a bounce-back opportunity against a division foe who may be a little fat and happy after beating Green Bay. But, Bryce Young being back, Bryce Young, had 11 completions for 102 yards. It wasn't like the passing game worked. It was all Rico, They got outgained by a full yards per play. And a lot of it had red zone. The red zone defense was good. And the Packers made mistakes in the red zone. Green Bay only had 1 touchdown in 5 red zone tries. Confidence inspiring for the Panthers. Now, twice this season, they have a rookie kicker, Ryan Fitzgerald, has nailed the game winner like he did yesterday from distance. So we'll give Carolina credit, but that had a lot to do with Green Bay stinking. And again, the Panthers, when we look at what they've actually done in their statistical profile and their record, there's something about a dichotomy there. The markets are not going to give Carolina, of all teams with a winning record, Carolina's power rated lowest in my numbers by a fairly wide margin. So even though they're decent, no one's saying Carolina's good yet. And they weren't good yesterday. Green Bay was just worse.
All right, are they good enough to win the game, Teddy? You know where I'm going here. I'm looking at Carolina and Survivor. Am I getting a little too high on the Panthers, especially in a divisional matchup?
I think they're a reasonable choice.
Okay.
New Orleans right now is a team that's worth looking to fade in Survivor.
I did it yesterday with the Rams. I mean, you can just keep betting against some of these bad teams. Eventually, they're going to win. Remember, I had the Bengals in another entry versus the Jets. So that's where you get a little kind of thinking, all right, eventually the Saints are going to win a game. Because, again, the organization may be tanking, but the players are not tanking.
No, and when you have a team, let's say that we're going to talk about Washington a little bit later. When you have a team that's built to win now and they're bringing a bunch of veterans, a bunch of older guys, and then you start the season seeing 3-6, sometimes you see some tank in those teams. When you have a team with a younger head coach, you have a team that's still building, you have a team that hasn't been to the playoffs, there's not tanking, The Saints aren't tanking, I mean, there's effort there. There's effort there every week, or most weeks at least for New Orleans. They're just not very good.